Hello everyone, welcome to You Can Automate. Today we are going to discuss about environments. Say for example, when we are working on one particular test case, say that this is my test case, should be able to search product and place order in a e-commerce portal, right? And I want to run this particular product, I want to run this particular test case in one of the environment. Say for example, www.amazon.in is my QA environment. Assume this is a QA environment and I'll be getting a request to run this particular test case on multiple environment, say QA, dev and UAT. Assuming this is a QA environment and tomorrow I may get a request to run my test case on dev environment, right? And this is how the dev environment can be. And similarly for UAT. In real-time examples, when you are working on projects, you may get to run the test cases on any environment. Say for example, to run tests in a QA environment, to run tests in a dev environment, right? So like that, different requests will get. And say for example, tomorrow I want to run my same test cases on UAT environment or in a staging environment, right? So this is the real-time situations when we do automate the test cases. We'll get all these kind of requests. That time you no need to go and change the URL which you have given in the application suite, right? See, I'll be getting these kind of request. When I get these kind of request, say for example, I want to run my test case on pre-prod, right? Assuming these all the environment URL we have, I've just added here for to explain it in the easiest manner. So currently I have added one of the environment URL here, and this is hard coded in the one of the class called base, right? And we have several environments here, QA, dev, UAT, right? Now we need to manage from these things from outside of this particular class. That say for example, whenever I want to run any test case on particular environment, I should be able to run it from command line without touching this navigate URL function. So to do that, what I need to do here is I need to create one of the file called urls.js at the project level, right? Let me move this particular file to the project level, and here I need to add all my URLs here, whatever the URLs I have it here I need to add. It can be any number of URLs, it can be any number of environment. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to write module.exports, and inside this I'm going to provide my all environment details, that is the URL of each environment. Say for example, right now I have some three environments. So first one is we can consider that as a dev environment, right? So dev environment, whatever the environment, say for example, I'm taking my environment URL from here, that is amazon dev.amazon.in. Okay, so this particular URL, this is my environment URL. This I'm going to add it here. Okay, and now I'm going to add another environment details, that is a QA environment, right? For QA environment, I'm considering the whatever the Amazon site which we are using, that as a QA environment, just to showcase, just to demo that how environment variable can be configured. So I'm taking one of the existing real URL, correct? And now I'm going to add as a UAT environment. So in this place you can add all your environment details. It can be any environment, right? So here I'm just showing as a Amazon dev environment, Amazon QA environment, as a Amazon UAT environment, right? Similarly you can add all your environments here. Okay, once I add module.experts and all the URL here, now I need to go to my wdio conf.js here, and here I need to add some details. So what are the details here is, first I need to add my process. So what I'm going to do here is const process. Here I'm going to create one const variable, that is process. Here in front of this I'm going to provide that as require, and inside that I'm going to write as process. That means that during runtime, process is a variable which will hold all the details. Now I'm going to create another const variable, right? Here I'm going to create another const variable, that is URL. Here I'm going to import URL file, whatever I have created, right? That is a JS file. So here I'm going to write as require, and inside that I'm going to mention the URL file name. So file name is URLs here, so that I will be able to access all the URLs here. Next I'm going to create another variable, that is env. Env is nothing but environment variable. By this I'm going to decide which environment I'm going to operate on. So here I need to use the process variable, correct? So process is a variable which will hold all the details during the runtime, and in that I want env, right? I want env is the variable. I want env variable, and after that I'm putting that dot env, right? So this will provide me an environment variable during the runtime. So whatever the environment variable, whatever the environment value which I'm going to pass it, that will comments it in the env. Now I'm going to write one more if condition, that if I'm not providing any env details, assume that by accidentally I'm not providing any env details, what should happen? First condition is if env is empty, that's why I'm saying that env is empty, then I'm going to provide all my environment details here, that is dev, qa, right, and uat. If my env variable, env capital env variable is not having environment name, that is not matching any of these variables, then I should take some action. That means that if I am providing some invalid environment name during the runtime, then my script should be able to handle it and prompt to user that provide the valid environment variable, right? So that's why I'm adding a if condition here, that if in env doesn't include any value from these values, that is dev, qa and uat, and or if env value is empty. So what I need to do here is I need to put some message, that is, hey, whatever the environment value which I have entered is incorrect, right? So that's why I'm writing some message here. Please enter valid environment. Valid environment will be dev, qa or uat. So user can enter environment value from any of these things. Okay, once I print this message, I want to stop my execution, right? So there is no point in continuing the execution when I get the wrong environment value, right? So that's why I'm writing as process.exit. Okay, this is my if condition. So let's see what we have done. First we have taken the process variable, right? Next we have taken the URLs from the file, and what we have done next is we have taken the process variable. From process variable we have taken the env, and from that we have taken env capital, right? Now we have added a condition that whatever the environment variable which I have passed, if it is not including any one of these things, dev, qa or uat, then I should print a message that please enter a valid environment, and then I should exit from the execution, right? So there is no point in continuing that. So after this we need to come to this base URL and we need to do a little bit of changes here, so that it will take the URL from environment variable whatever I am passing. So what I'm going to do here is, so first I'm going to use a variable URL here, that is having all the details of environment URL. Then inside this URL within square bracket I need to mention the process, right? Process and dot env. That means that whatever is there in the env variable, that let's take that, and whatever, for example I am passing a qa in the environment variable, from URL file take the qa value, whatever the qa environment value is there, right? Let's take that. So that is what it is doing here. Say for example I am passing qa or dev or uat in the command line, that will be passed to process.env.env, and URL of qa will be taken. Say let's go to this URL here. I'm passing qa in the command line. It will come to this particular file. It will take the respective qa value whatever is there, right? So that is how it will be done. Okay. Now I need to go to my base page, and here I have hard coded my URL, right? Here I need to remove this hard coded value and just put a slash, so that whatever URL is coming from the command line, the same URL will be taken and put it here in the base.url, right? Now I need to install one more dependency, that is cross env, right? To execute any environment and to make that happen from command line I need to install one of the dependency, that is cross env. So this is how I'll be installing that dependency, npm install saveder cross env, right? This will help us to pass the environment variable from command line during the runtime, right? I'll show that how it will be useful. So just we need to install this, make sure that you won't forget this. So say cross env is the dependency name. So these all the URLs. Let me clear this. I had just it for explanation purpose, right? Now I have different URLs. Now I can try out execute the particular test case from command line by passing the environment value. See, this is how I'll execute my test case, that is npx cross env and space, and I need to provide the env keyword and what is the value of it. Say for example, now I want to execute my test case on QA environment. So for example, I'll go to this URL and this is my QA environment. I just need to pass env equals to QA so that it will pick up the QA value whatever is present in this file, and here I need to provide wdio run and configuration file, that is wdio conf.js, and here I need to specify what test case I want to run. This is the usual thing, right? What we have seen in the before, everything is the same thing, right? Here I am mentioning the test case path where it is, that is test slash, right? Here e2e test, under that I need to run my test case, that is place order test. This is my test case. So here very important thing is, one is cross env followed by env variable, right? Env equals to qa dev or uat, any environment you can have, any n number of environment variable, right? So here I am executing my test case. It is launching the amazon.in, and here it has to enter some keyword in the search bar, right? It has to search for beanbag and click on one of the product, right? That is our test case. You can have any environment variable and you can implement this change for any of your automation suite, right? So it is just clicking on the add to cart button, and so test case is done, correct? So this is how you will pass environment variable from command line. So for example, here you have 3 environments. You can have any number of environments. In some of the companies, they do have 5 environments, 6 environments, right? So now we need to see how how this particular suite will behave if I am not providing a valid environment, right? So for example, here I am providing, I assume that I am providing some invalid. Say for example, here I am adding a staging. So in this particular case, it should say some message and it should stop my execution, right? Here I am passing the environment value as staging. So it should say that entered value, entered environment is not correct, right? So please enter a valid environment. It should throw this message and it should stop the execution. Right? Here I can come and say that I can correct my environment variable, that is QA, and continue. So this is how we can manage different environment values in a single suite, and we can control that by using a command line. So I think you have got this point, and I suggest you to try these particular changes in your framework, and do let me know if you have any questions, and make your test robust. Okay, thank you, see you in the next video.